Zephaniah 3, 18 through 20.
I will gather you who mourn for the appointed festivals. You will be disgraced no more. And I will deal severely with those who have oppressed you. I will save the weak and helpless ones. I will bring together those who were chased away. I will give glory and fame to my former exiles, wherever they have been mocked and shamed. On that day, I will gather you together and bring you home again. I will give you a good name, a name of distinction among the nations of the earth, as I restore your fortunes before their very eyes. I, the Lord, have spoken. I've been writing fiction since the second grade, and so I'm really conscious of the Lord as author. They tell you in writing classes to begin with the end in mind. That is what the Lord has done. He's the beginning, but he's also the end, and he has our end written out, and that end is a homecoming. I found Zephaniah 3, 19 and 20 when I was 12 years old. The Lord is recounting to Israel through Zephaniah all of the things that they've done wrong recently. It's a long list. But then in chapter 3, it just shifts. And this fire that Zephaniah has been talking about the whole time becomes a purifying fire instead of a fire of judgment. 2010 was a pretty difficult year for me. I was a sophomore in college, and I was coming out of one of the most difficult semesters I'd ever had. A week into the summer, I was on a plane on our way to Cambodia to study and research human trafficking. You spend a day with a bunch of 10 and 15-year-old boys and girls who have all been either raped or rescued from trafficking situations, and it does something to your head. I came across a quote from James Finley: "As we pursue the Lord through prayer, there's a purification that happens." And he says through that purification process, the true self emerges in its unexpected splendor. And I didn't believe it at the time. I'd just been learning a lot about how both the world and me were maybe not as good as I wanted us to be. When I write, I feel closer to God. I feel like I get to step into a world where it's just him and me making something. And then, as those things get finished, I can invite other people into them too. Zephaniah 3 says, "I'll give glory and renown to my former exiles who've been mocked and shamed. And on that day I'll gather you together and bring you home again." Because my concept of home comes from somewhere invisible, I actually do identify with the part of the verse that calls us exiles. The idea that my home and the place that I come from and the place that I'm going back to is something that only he holds really feels true to me.